when I got there, the station was broadcasting from the studio in right off of the International Lounge on the second floor of the Student Center. And the equipment in there was sort of old, and so I think it was in the summer of 1985 we upgraded that station. Oh, it was 87, excuse me. We upgraded it, and that was done by a student with the help of our engineer, Roy Pressman. But the student did all the work, and I knew how hard he was working because during the summer his day job was working in the housing office with me, and his evening job was going over to the studio and completely redoing the entire studio. And he did a great job. A kid was named Steve Toback, and he's gone on to a fine career in this media, and he's been to many places, California and the like. But anyway, I was very impressed with that, and he did it himself with the help of our chief engineer. I think other significant things are when we received referendum money, approval for referendum money, which meant that we could count on a sure amount of money year after year, and that really nailed down our financial stability to the point where we are, pretty sure that we'll have the funds to operate. Another highlight was in a couple years we had some people that could really sell underwriting. They sold twice as much in one year as we can do now, and that's a task that's interesting to try to get students motivated to do, because they come to the radio station to be DJs and know their music, but you got to have some business people there. You got to find some people who are interested in selling underwriting, and I think that there's a big market there, and some years they have students to do it, other years they don't. But somehow we make it through each year, and we were able to keep broadcasting. I'm sort of smiling because some years if there's no underwriting, then we have to cut back on how we spend money and what we can buy. And it's in other years when underwriting's going good, well, you let them go out and do other things, and it's not wasteful. It's more PR, more events and things like that. So they enjoy all those things. I think recently there was of course the power increases are significant when we go from 10 watts to 100 watts to 360, and then we're going to go again. And those wattages aren't 100% accurate, so don't hold me to them. But another thing that was interesting was when we, that was very interesting. The whole new move to downstairs where the old bowling alley was, and redoing all of that. That was a big project, and that was a project where we had to use a lot of different resources. We had to do some heavy-duty fundraising. We got donors to cover a lot of the expense, and we got all new boards, which was very expensive. So that was a big activity, and it was a lot of fun to get it all done. And then just recently, in summer of 2008, we remodeled the offices, and that was a student who just went out and found somebody to help us do that and established it and got a Kia to come in and set up or help them design it, and Kia provided a lot of the furnishings, and it was a sort of a team effort, but we changed the whole demeanor of the office. It was great. It was and it's amazing what students can do, and so it's sort of when you look back at it, you're tearing your hair out of your head trying to get this thing done, but then after it gets done, it's quite an accomplishment for the students. Another change in recent years, 3 or 4 years ago, we started bringing bands into the offices and have live broadcasts, and we really didn't have the facility for that at all, and we would end up doing that. And there was a time too when we had a remote show from a nightclub in Coconut Grove, And that was a very lucrative situation because those folks paid us underwriting to broadcast from there. The alternative music, you know, and I've always felt, and it's always been that way. And you know, I ask why do we have to play this music? Well, it's what we can get, what's easy for us to get, because everybody's trying to get it on the air. And when you look at the mail bin every day that comes in, it's obvious there are a lot of people trying to get their music on the air. And so I don't, and to that regard, we increased the music director from 1 to 2 people, because you got to have people review all the music and try to figure out what to put on the air. So I think that that the music is the key thing, and it's always been a struggle to add the other programming to it, and whatever that might be. And there's others besides alternative music, and there's other different shows, and there's the sports, and also our need to produce news on there, and a special news broadcast. So it's a struggle. It's a tough thing to pull all together. Alternative music doesn't run the place, but it's certainly predominant. It just depended on the personalities of those people that were general managers, how into it they were. Some were really into raising money. I mean, I remember one group that did car washes and washed airplanes to make money, and others, you know, had no interest at all, and they had goals. Some people were driven by their goals. Their goals might be to get remote control equipment or remote equipment so they could go to parties and be WVUM providing your music and something like that, which was a little extra thing. And the current group of people has got their own goals, and they're driven by what's important to them. So it's sort of, it depends on the individual. Rhonda Ginsburg has was the general manager in the 80s, and has now moved back to South Florida and is active on the advisory board. She's the alumni person representative, and she's very active, very interested in helping the radio station, has great ideas, has great contacts from her previous jobs in television. So she's a great resource. It's fun to see her come back and really get involved. There was a general manager named Glenn Rickard, and he came back a second time to school. So he was an older student. I think he was almost 29 when he was a general manager here. And now he's in Gainesville getting his PhD in communication, and I don't know for sure. I'm sure we'll see him back here soon. So those are some of the people. There are a lot of others that are, you hear their names in broadcasting, especially in sports broadcasting, and they're out there. But there were a lot of people that really, they bled orange and green and WVM at the same time. They really were into it.